All right, well, welcome. It is time to talk about book 8. Michael and I have both been very much looking forward to this, so I'm very excited as well. James, take it away. What is the name of book 8?
All right, book 8 of Shadow of the Dragons is Sailing the Ashen Seas. We went nautical on this book. We've been walking across the world for 7 books now, and now they're gone on the ship. So now they
Yeah,
can just sail places. No more walking for our intrepid heroes. They've leveled up the ship. So
excellent. It's time to sail, and it's going to be completely smooth sailing, no trouble whatsoever.
yeah, right. No trouble whatsoever.
Smooth sailing.
Not at
So,
all.
because I tend to ramble on these, I wanted to just say that I actually wrote a quick summary of the book that I sent out to James and Michael recently. Before I read that, Michael, how are you this evening?
I'm doing okay. I was saying I had an unfortunate time waster today that took away some of my work time, which kind of sucks. But other than that, I can't really complain.
Yeah. I see you're going by Schwam now. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's another thing. I changed my name.
Oh,
I haven't. You guys are actually you're the first people to actually find out about this. I plan on going public with it early next week. Mainly because there's just you drew such an amazing self-portrait of me that I just couldn't resist.
I just needed your image to be out in the world. Show them. That's all.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now I need you to draw my self-portrait. My name is Oots. So that's what's next.
I'm a terrible artist. I would never be able to recreate anything as amazing as yours, but I will try.
I appreciate it. We shall post it next time on book 9. Okay, book 8. Recovering from Wu Fei's last attack, wedding of Yuden and Zai, then, but I just got married line. Duke Feos being lied to by a priestess, so they went after Lumi, fighting to get to the boat. Maple Priestess almost kicks everyone's ass after Wizard trying to be Zeus gets light spear to the heart. We lose Ri and Tia-In to the enemy boat after big battle. Maple Priestess tries to get into Ri's mind, but he discovers that emotions are his friend and the fierce little hatchling is his new buddy. More fighting. OMG, Voni's mom. OMG, she's the Great Apostate's granddaughter. OMG, Wu Fei again. OMG, Tian and those damn collars. OMG, the Great Apostate actually wants to end the world. OMG, Gaul closes his eyes as Lumi regains another piece because he doesn't deserve to see it. Tear. Oh, and Yuden had more dreams.
Yeah, Yuden had more dreams.
So, discuss.
Yeah, discuss. There's so much to discuss. I always knew we were going nautical. That's why we met Captain Amph all the way back in book 2. He's originally actually going to be in book 1, but he got cut. So he got cut to book 2. But yeah, so like I always knew we were going to go sailing, and then we got there, and I was like, well, what do we do when we're sailing? There needs to be stakes, and so Duke Feos was like, well, we need to have a reaction to what happened at the end of book 7. That was like a major dragon attack on a city, and that's people aren't going to stand for that. They're going to want answers, and maybe a priestess and a church that has greedy intentions might just fudge the truth just a teeny bit to get the authorities to go chasing after our heroes as the main culprits, and then we have some stakes while we're sailing. We got our ship being pursued by another ship with competent magical people on there, and Zeus guy who I yeeted really quickly. I was like, yeah, you're going to be this arrogant guy that I'm just going to yeet you really quickly.
He got cut.
Me. Yeah. He did some damage before he got yeeted. But yeah, so then the Re stuff, that was a genius. I was really glad I hit on that. I was like thinking about that battle, and I was like, oh, what if like Re got captured? As I do, I let my mind wander when I'm outlining. I'm like, well, what would happen if he does? And I'm like, well, he would be, interrogated. I'm like, well, this is the perfect time to like move along Ree's like character arc because he's kind of been stagnant. He's not really getting anywhere. So like we need something to shake REID up, and this was the kind of the best time to do it. I really was glad I hit on that. So really, I think
I
it's some
actually
of my
thought
favorite. Yeah. Sorry, what was that?
I thought Ree was gonna die. Like I actually thought, okay, if you're gonna kill off, if there's one character in this team in this party that you're gonna kill off, I don't know why I thought Ree would be the character, because there would be enough emotional resonance that people would care, but you know, it wouldn't be like killing off Voni or Zaire or Yuden. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was happy that didn't happen. We're doing spoilers, right?
This entire
Yeah,
thing.
book 8. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you kind of already spoiled a whole bunch of stuff with that whole mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
thing.
We're deep
Yeah.
into book 8,
So I mean, I'm glad he didn't die, but I actually, it was the first time, because not the first time, but the first time in a couple of books where I started to like hold my breath a little bit. Like, is he actually going to die? And I thought that might happen.
Yeah, I put him into really dire straits that I don't think I've really put characters into in a while. Probably since book 6, maybe, with them trapped and sort of dying of dehydration in the wormhole. I really put them in some dire straits then. But yeah, no, I was like it just he really needed to have some stern external forces applied to him, really to crack him and get his character growth to out there. Because he's too blunt to really dig in to his character from the other ones. Like they can't really land anything on him. It just sort of like he just sort of like washes off of him. Yeah, he's like, so I needed something really to dig into him to really reach his emotional core and get him to have some self-reflection and stuff.
Like Will Wizardry, maybe?
Yeah, like Will Wizardry with Priestess Yam, as you call her, the Maple Girl, but that's Yam. She's I like her. You know, she's obviously didn't die in this book, so that means she's going to be around in the next book. And so
It'll be cool. It'll be cool to talk about the progression of Ree's character when we talk about my new favorite book, book 9. Actually, I'll be perfectly honest. I as much as I loved book 9, and I really did, I still think book 8 right now is probably my favorite, only because of the whole Voni's mom, that whole revelation about her grandfather and her mom actually not being dead and all that stuff was, and the way she handled it specifically, and the twist in her character was just so, I was just like, oh my God. I was telling my wife, you know, hasn't read any of these books, right? So she just sees me reading them and I'm like, oh my God, I got to tell you what happened in this book, because, and she's like, okay, tell me, because she does that to me all the time too. She'll be reading some random book that I've got like no real interest in, and she'll just tell me all about it, and I'll be like, that's cool. but yeah, no, it some of the stuff in this one really shocked me. And like I said, what's amazing is because you have so much time to grow with these characters, and because the shocking stuff that happens and the plot twists and all the roller coasters are not characters in the main party dying, at least not yet. It's a testament to how powerful the story is. I've said this, I think I feel like a broken record, but to be able to still, like, I kind of know that the party's going to mostly, for the most part, come off unscathed, but I still get excited about the twists and other things that happen and the revelations about the world building and about everything you think you know is wrong stuff, which has happened like so many times already in the series.
Yeah.
And I never see it coming.
I was gonna say, I thought that the first time the dragons or the gods didn't create everything. Maybe the dragons did the dragons? Did the gods? Wait, did they work together? Did they hate? Wait, who started the war? It's like so many things that just unravel along the way, and then book 8 just goes, just kidding, totally kidding.
Yeah, I remember getting your Jessica, your messages. You're like, I'm getting worried because like I'm realizing like, you know, future Voni is alone in the woods, right?
Right.
And like, what happened to? And I'm like, yeah, that's not future Voni, but I just can't say anything 'Cause I need
Right.
I can't. I have to make sure. I have to see how you react to the twist that's coming. You
Well,
know,
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you not spoiling
the
it.
hint that it wasn't future Voni was probably that she was wearing clothes.
Right.
Oh.
I
Anyway,
swear, book 9 is the last time she gets naked. I swear.
and we're not
Probably.
complaining. It's just a little thing.
No, there's a bath scene in book 11.
Uh-huh. It's
I'm
tradition. It's okay.
No, I mean it's just like they just went through some very terrible, like she's very dirty, and she just really was glad that there was a bath. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my goodness.
So, but yeah, no, it's I mean I slipped that in all the way back in book 3, right? That that there's this woman that looks like older Bodhi, and I just like it was Vision of the Future. It was older Bodhi all the time. Yeah, no, that's all that was.
Well, I remember, like, I theorized, like, every time I hear something surprising, I'm like trying to think of different things. And I remember when I first heard about the older Voni there, I was like, is that her mom? And then I started hearing the story that, first her mom died in childbirth, but then she found out from Ruan, no, she actually, was killed by her father, and her heart was presented. And it was like, surely it couldn't change again. Like, we already learned that was not true. And so it must be this thing. Oh, no, just kidding. It's actually neither one of those things. It's this,
Yeah, no.
I love that. I think it's a good testament to, in real life, how we constantly need to be open to learning something new, because you never know. You may have a solid truth, but like the edges of it are a little fuzzy, or they're a little too sharp, and they actually need to be eroded a little bit. Like, no, it's actually not quite that much, like, shape it up, constantly be moldable. And I think that's a good lesson to pull from this story. Don't be rock solid and too rigid in your thinking.
Yeah, I mean that goes back to Ruan and the relationship she has with her mentor, the Master of Doubts, where she's like, "You're the Master of Doubts, and yet you're a fanatic part of a crazy cult. You don't even realize it, right?" Yeah, and which goes back, and that goes back to what you learned here, that the Great Apostate is really just using all these. They're all useful idiots for him to get his true goal. He can't tell them his true goal because no one would go along with it.
Except the Master of Doubts. Now that
the Master of Doubts is insane.
Yeah.
That was like the Great Apostate going like, "I'm gonna gamble telling you this crazy guy because otherwise I have to kill you because you're out of control." That was really the Master of Doubts is like his life is there on the balance. Like it's like this is decision time. Do we snuff you out? You're useful, but you're also becoming dangerous. So
right.
So yeah.
Then he's like, "We're gonna kill everybody." Okay.
And he's crazy, so no one would believe him if he goes, because he just wanders around telling everyone this stuff anyways. So he's just like he's lost his marbles. He's
well, he's got the fact that he's one of your worms stacked against him right at the beginning. So a crazy worm is even worse.
Yeah. So
can I add just very quickly that Yudon continues to kick ass more and more in every single book. Like I like his character. I always liked his character. Like even way back in book 1, I liked his character. But I really like his character like right now. Like he's really like the type of friend you'd want to have. He's growing. He's grown a lot in maturity because of the things he's experienced, and it's like a gradual process. But he's really a good dude, and he's become a really good dude. And I mean, you want that. He's the central. Well, he is the central character in the story. I mean, him and Voni, I guess, are together, but he's continuing to just make me really happy to read about.
I'm really curious to see in the end, what's the word count for everybody's POV chapters or sections? I'm curious to see who actually narrated the most of the story.
They're pretty close. A lot of them, I mean, other than I think Dawa and Thaf might in the later books, especially, have a little bit less page time, and what they do have might be a little bit shorter, especially because now they're dealing with having their sproutlings and stuff like that. But I actually think it's pretty well divided.
Yeah. I was
Between
telling my partner today, I said, or no, I was telling somebody at work. I tell all kinds of people about this about this series. I was telling somebody, at this point, I'm in book 8 or book 9, and there's like 10 main characters, and they all have different magic. They all have different, not just different magic, but different types of magic. And at the same time, they are all intimately known to me. Like, I could tell you, as I told James one day, I could tell you the grade they probably made in math in the 4th grade. I really understand the characters from their perspective because I've learned their perspective. And Michael, you said that they're evenly distributed. They are, enough for me to go, he wouldn't do that, or they wouldn't, that's not something that they would do. Even with the dragons that we've just barely met, it's like, no, I don't see that dragon doing that. There must be something wrong. No spoilers. So it's really interesting to see how they develop and how they continue. Even, I feel like every character has an identity. I don't want to say crisis, that's cliche, but like something they're trying to determine.
One second, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, they all have I don't know, baggage, maybe.
Sorry, guys.
It's all right.
A little dog issue.
Oh no. But yeah, they all have their own, what was it that you said, James? Baggage. Yeah. So they have their own baggage. They have their own, just everything. They're just so full. They're so whole, each one of them. And they have conflicts within themselves, and they have conflicts with each other. And it's like, I'm one who likes to create, like, I like family trees. I like maps. I like flow charts, things like that. And so like, I look at this and I'm like, okay, this dragon is this dragon's grandmother, and this dragon is, I'm like looking at this whole, and thankfully, James, you sent me the family tree so I could follow.
I had to make a family tree so I could keep it all straight.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, was it you? I thought, Jessica, I thought it was you that made that chart.
No, James sent it to me, and then I took it and put check marks by all the dragons I had met so far.
Okay. Because I was going to say, if you think it's complicated now, wait in terms of POVs and stuff. Wait till you get to book 9, because I don't know if not necessarily POVs, but there's a lot more characters. There's without giving. Well, you've read it. I'm not going to say too much, but there's characters that already exist that become a lot more developed.
Right.
In book 9 for various reasons.
And I love that too. Like, they're minor characters, and then all of a sudden they have a point of view, and I'm looking forward to more of that. Go ahead,
Book 9, there's elements of book 9 that remind me a little bit of the Never-Ending Story. That's all I'll say. And I think a lot of that just has to do with the way some of the new characters develop. Are you getting me a little bit?
I am not getting the comparison at all.
Well, I have to say
it's fine. That's cool.
So, am I allowed to say to mention a couple of things about book 9, just like very briefly?
Be vague.
Yeah, so some of the dragons, go through a process, and we get to know them a little bit more, and some of them have very interesting perspectives, and you get to learn their perspectives, and it becomes a very different series. Like book 9 takes a different tone, because it becomes a little bit more of a dragon and rider series.
It's not really okay. So we end the book with them getting the bull, and one dragon actually did get grown.
Great.
Yeah, and then he flew off. So he wasn't there for the final battle. I didn't have to. I was like, he's just gonna go have fun flying off, so I don't have to deal with him in this battle. He's like, I can fly again. Yeah, and I'm just gonna go off. I'm like, you're kind of I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, that was a classic what did I miss?
Yeah.
When he got back, everything.
Because everything's wrecked when he gets back. He
Yeah.
doesn't get back until the beginning of book 9, but right? I don't believe so.
I don't remember.
I
know
think it's the
everything's
beginning of
over by
book
the time
9. I think it's
Yeah.
the beginning of book 9 when he comes back. I was like, oh, what happened? But
love that.
yeah. So yeah, it's fair to say because it's always been my intention to have them like fly on dragons and have lots of dragons. We finally get in there, so it's exciting. Book 9 is where we really start to do that part of the series.
And
That's
no
something to look forward
spoilers.
to.
No spoilers, so we can't really talk about this part, but I was excited about which character rode on a dragon first. I was like, yes.
That was I messaged James and I said there's one like cinematic line that probably has to do with the scene that you're talking about. And I was like, that is like totally awesome, cinematic, beautiful writing. I love that part. Yeah, no, and now it's funny, the more I'm talking about it, the more I realize like how many different virtues book 9 has that made it so different than book 8. Sometimes that happens. It's like I because I've read, and I mentioned this before too, I think, but because I've read it all, so all the books one right after another, like literally jump right from one into the other, it feels like one big story for me. So sometimes I have to really go back and think about, well, what happened? I mean, there's book 8 was a standout for me. Like that will stand out. Book 1, obviously, and book 3 were standouts for me. But sometimes I have to think like what happened in these books, because did this happen in 4? Did this happen in 5? And as I'm thinking about it, I'm realizing, wow, that was way better than I like thought. And then I'll realize, okay, well, maybe book 9 is becoming my favorite. Who knows? It's just what happens. It happens with the stuff that we write too. I think that everything that's the current thing is the best. I think that might just be a creative thing.
Maybe, I don't know. I think book 11, I think it's the best out of all 12. Like I really like book 12. Like book 12 is really great. I really love it. I think the ending's great. I really don't know. I think there's something. I really got something on book 11. You'll just have to wait and get there and see if you agree with me. But
I can't believe there's only 3 more. I'm when this series started, when I started reading it, I'm like, wow, 12 books, like that will take forever to read. That's so cool. And now I'm on 10 already, and I can't believe it's almost over.
Yeah, and they're shorter. We got short. They started short. They got long, and now they're short again. The last few, we're down to like 93,000 for book 10, and the last 2 books are like 89,000.
Well, I told someone that I was advertising the book too, because I do that all the time. I told them that when I first started the author talk with you, James, on this series, it was like, oh my gosh, the books are coming out every 3 weeks. I really hope that I, am able to finish them before I have to do the next interview. And like, I'm going to start book 10 probably tonight. And when does that come out? Like I'm still several weeks away.
It'll be 3 weeks from the day this shows up on YouTube.
Right.
Which is still, I think 5 weeks out from where we're recording this. Yeah, because it's only been, I think the book we're talking about just came out last week.
And you're jumping ahead of me now.
Ago.
Am I jumping ahead of you?
You're jumping ahead of me. I've always been like about a book ahead of you, and now you're going to be a book ahead of me.
I'm telling you, I swallowed book 9 whole.
Yeah, me too.
I had to have a lot of Alka-Seltzer. Like it went straight down.
I was surprised because you're you said you got this. I'm like, oh, wow, she's just blazing through this book all of a sudden.
Yes, it got so good.
So we're talking about book 8. We had the Boney reveal. Like I said, I'd known that Boney's mom was alive from the very beginning. That she was like the great apostate's granddaughter.
Yes.
I threw some little like the one time I think Ruan has an interaction with the great apostate. She thinks there's something familiar about him. She can't quite place it. Yeah, That was me slipping that little nugget in back in, I think, book 3. A little.
I also like, Lady Eathjow had been mourning Bithin's death like the first several chapters of the book, and then all of a sudden when Boni has to go into the Earthblood node, she's literally dying, and she's like, I need you to help me out here. And it's like Eastjow herself had kind of a revelation and a turnaround, like, okay, I'm gonna help you, and yes, let's do this, and she had to come out of that place of grief.
Yeah, she's in a very dark place at the beginning of the book. I forgot about that. It's been a while since I've been just frantically editing these things. You talk about keeping up with reading, but I've been having to keep up, like, the editing.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, because I'm always like, where's the next book? I need the next book.
That's my problem.
It was.
I would be right there with you. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's fine. You were right there with me.
I was gonna say to Jessica, I'd be right there with you, but I have some editing that's gonna prevent me from jumping into it as quickly as I'd like to. But yeah.
I'll make sure I don't send any spoilers over the group text for sure.
I know. Please don't.
But I did want to say with REID, I just wanted to bring this up, go back to REID and the way that you organized his healing, I guess you would say, was incredible. You mentioned earlier that you had to have something really strong to break him, to get into his mind. And I just love the construct of, she was trying, Priestess Yanam was trying to get into his head, and he threw up something that would, protect his real secrets. And so he's thinking about when he killed the woman, but at the same time, while he's using that as a shield, he's also processing it and realizing, things about it that he needed to realize. And then he throws up the Zai, his love for Zai, and how
Infatuation with Zai.
Yeah, his infatuation with her and him not understanding his love for her. And he uses that, but he also processes it at the same time. And, it's just fascinating to see that, because I could see him doing that at first to protect himself, but then to realize, I'm not protecting myself. I'm protecting my tribe, my new family, and realizing that that's what this was for. And, to the whole time be protecting Fia-In, that was awesome. And I didn't think, Michael, I know you said you thought he might die. I don't know that I ever got to that point. Hold on, my dryer's buzzing.
Yeah,
I don't think I ever got to that point, because I was like, no way, he's not going to leave this little baby dragon. Like, he's got a baby dragon that he's got to love on and figure out how to protect. And I'd love that the dragon was the one who was protecting him, though, like bringing him food and bringing him the file and everything. That dragon just cracked me up, the way he burst out of the egg and immediately bit Ree's toe. Like, yes, this is my baby. I love this child. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. First of all, I've got every type of crazy happening in my house right now while this is happening right outside my door. So I hope it's not too loud and jarring for you guys. Just let me know. But okay, cool, good. No, but what I wanted to say is I think my reason for thinking Ree might bite it was more to do with just the fact that when I weighed his I guess his significance in the role of the team in general, if there was one character that was going to die, I thought it would be him at that point. Yeah. And it was just such a crazy, intense situation. And I was starting to think, how is he going to get out of this? Like, how can he possibly? And there's stuff in book 9 too, where I'm kind of like, okay, how are they going to get out of this? And there's various reasons I think that, and a lot of it has to do with, okay, well, I mean, we know that Voni is able to heal when because she has Eatjow in her and able to do that. But if she's not around and something terrible happens like that, what are they going to do?
Right.
And I think I was kind of thinking that with Ree and weighing it, but yeah, no, I'm glad he didn't. And I thought the whole, so does he, I'm just trying to remember, does he come to this whole idea of being infatuated with Zai in book 8, or does that kind of
No,
happen?
he's been infatuated with Zai since like book 5.
Right, but is it book 8 where you kind of think, okay, well, he's more than just like he really isn't, like he's kind of in love with Zai.
Yeah, but then he realizes in that time with the priestess that love was so intense, but it was still like
Right.
familial love. It was more like family than it was.
Right.
Yeah.
But he comes to that realization afterwards because he has to do a lot of soul searching, and he realizes that it's like because he's such an isolated character, and because he has so much baggage, coming to terms with having a love for a tribe, getting out of that isolationist mode that he was in is such an intense kind of reality for him that he needed to displace the love feeling that he had and put it on something else, which was easier for him to understand. Then after that, he I guess he realizes what it really is. But I'm glad that happened, and it was a big step for the character, and it's cool. Moving forward, we get to see a very different version of Reid too. So
Yes.
Yeah, yes, we do. But no, I get why you would think I might kill him, because when you look at like from a narrative perspective as an author, characters need to have a point, and sometimes you can have a really great character and they kind of lose their point in the story, where there's nothing really for them to do in the story, and one solution is to kill them. That's a solution to the problem that you face as an author. I remember I was reading a book. It's really deep into a series, and like a friend of mine, she's like, I had these huge moments, and like I couldn't believe that the author killed this character, and that's all that she told me. She's like, I'm not going to spoil it, but I was like, oh, and I went, okay, I'm the author. Which character do I? Oh, it's that character. Because that's the character that is no longer able to be relevant to the plot, but is still a very, still a character that's going to cause that emotional punch if the author killed said character. And so I was like, yeah, no, that's the character.
It's like, how do we make
because of that? That's all it took for her to spoil that for me.
It's like, how do we make this character significant again? How do we give them something? Okay, well, their sacrifice all of a sudden becomes the thing that they're remembered for. Once they start to. But anyway, it's cool. I mean, you took it in a different direction that brought new life to the character.
A lot of new life. I love it.
Try not to. This is kind of a little different series than some of the other ones I've written. This is one of my older series. Like, yeah, Reid might have died in this book very easily. I might have killed Shuam by now.
No, not Shuam.
Yeah.
Not Shuam.
Or Dower Thoth. Not both, just one.
Well, that would make it so depressing.
But this isn't that series. This isn't one of my other series. So I have resisted that urge up into book 8 to do that sort of thing, because I don't want I kind of want this to have a very, a very kind of warm and like I want this book to be like a more not as gritty and depressing as some of my other books. I needed a break from that. Back into it, my new series, but.
No, it's definitely a brighter series. Even, I mean, it still has it's really, really, I mean, dark. Like the bad guys are really, really, like, really evil, and there's some really like disturbing stuff. Especially the Master of Doubts and some of that whole all that stuff that happened with Voni's family, and I keep calling her Voni's family and stuff like that is really disturbing. But it's a brighter series than a lot of your other stuff. Like even descriptions and even the color palette in the descriptions of the world is a brighter, more colorful world. And Lumi and the various forms of Lumi add to that brightness as well.
Lumi is just a bright character. Just writing a scene with Lumi in it just makes it brighter, just because of her personality, her innocence, and now we've seen Lumi's hit her 5th stage, so she's now 10-year-old Lumi going into book 9, where she will be. It's all happened there at the end, and that's a different Lumi again. That's the fun thing about Lumi. She changes over the story as she ages. There's always like a new Lumi to write. That's like Lumi, but she's getting older. She's starting to understand things.
It's also like it's the thing about Lumi that's so cool too, is that when you think about Lumi's history and where Lumi came from, I hope I'm not giving too much. This isn't just book 9 stuff. There's
no, you're still
no. So when you think about Lumi's history and you think about Lumi's innocence now, and stuff like that, Lumi's it can almost be a little bit creepy too, because it's like when you think back to how different Lumi was, and the whole and how she plays a role in the whole politics of the gods. It's pretty amazing that she's become kind of the symbol of brightness and the symbol of innocence in the story.
Really is.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun reveals. I think people might have been a little surprised. I'm like, oh wow, you revealed what Lumi is in book 3 of your 12-book series. I'm like, yes, but there's more, so don't worry about it. There's way more bigger spoilers coming.
Yes. There is much more to come, I am sure. And even with 3 books left, I know there's just so many twists and turns that are going to come.
Yeah, there's still, I
think, say 4 books for anyone who hasn't read ahead. Yes.
Yeah, there's we're 2/3 through it here at the end of book 8. If I can do math right, yeah. And so we got the last third to go. You didn't want to have his sword. You lost that. I was like, this is your iconic, weapon here, Yudin. So I'm gonna just take it away for the end game, because I'm an author and I need to make my characters go through annoying things.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's rob you of your sword.
That's great. Take away the
back of your mortal enemy.
Take away what the character is like. Yeah.
Have either of you guys seen Thor: Love and Thunder yet?
No, I haven't. I won't
have any intention.
Yeah.
This is no intention. I know what it's all about.
I have every intention. So.
Well, it was kind of like Thor without Mjolnir, right? Like that's kind of what it felt like to
Ragnarok? Me. Yeah, when they broke it. But yeah, that was Ragnarok.
Yeah, and having to come to grips, you realize that sword is such a huge part of him as the series progresses, and having to learn how to do things without it is also kind of cool.
Yeah, he doesn't have his magic armor that protects him from almost everything any longer.
That's true.
He's going to be a more vulnerable character.
And he lives it. He makes it happen too. That's book 9. But I love that I didn't even realize fully that, it could become a crutch. It could become, who am I without this sword? And now we took the sword away, and I was like, oh, who is he without this sword? Let me see, let's see how this goes. So.
Yeah, well, book 9 is really Yudon's kind of, there's a lot of his spiritual quest to realize how important, what his values are and where he really stands. And obviously we see some of that with the dreams that happen in book 8. But
the dreams are all about challenging Yudin's worldview and putting them to the test and making them think about it and think about, not just what will the consequences be, and is it worth doing these consequences, and put your money where your mouth is, sort of thing. That's very much what the dreams are about.
And they also made Yudon's chapters, POV chapters, also unique and interesting in a similar way to I always remember the Zai chapters, just because they're so freaking weird and they're mind bending. So like his I chapter is always for the most part. I mean, there's probably some that don't, but for the most part, there's some revelation stuff in the Zai chapters. And now with a lot of Yudon's perspective, we have these crazy dreams where he's starting to connect on a higher level, which is really cool.
I love it. And guys, I actually have to go a little early today, but we can keep talking book 8, even in the book 9 talk if you want to, because I know there's just so much to unpack. But I did want to say to Schwam and to Mr. JMD Reid, thank you so much for being here with us today and for talking about this book. I am looking forward to the next and the next and the next. I can't wait to see how this unfolds and then how it ends, but I don't want to get to the ending because I'm going to be sad because I'm going to want more.
Yeah.
But
You're Oots right now, who was, because I wanted to make Oots Reed's love interest in book 8.
yeah. Very true. Yes.
And Reed was like, no.
Yeah. Just no.
Just
Nah.
no.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, the thing that's getting me through being finished this series is knowing that I can jump into another one. By the time I'm done, at least I'll have probably one book of another series to start. So that's completely different. Like, I don't know if you haven't read any of James's work in progress yet. It's got dragons in it again, but it is so different.
I love that.
Than this series and in tone and in scope, and it's awesome. Like, I think it's gonna kick ass too, so I can't wait.
Is that Radiance's night or is that?
Yeah. Radiance's night.
Radiance's night.
Radiance's night is just it's about as different as you can get from Shadow of the Dragon.
It's very different.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Shadow of the Dragons, when you get to the next book, it's as different as it could be from Shadow of the Dragons in the previous book. So
true. But this is real different. But yeah. Okay. So yeah, no, I'm looking for. Thank you for having me on again. It's always cool. This was cool. I had kind of a annoying day today, so this was a nice way to end it.
Awesome. Well, I had fun as always. Thanks for having me. Oots and Shuam, I'm glad my characters have come to life to talk to me.
I should get more fierce. Okay.
Yeah, it's a very stern, Drake woman. She's no nonsense. She's a bosun, so she's in charge of whipping the crew in line. So stern taskmaster. That's right.
All right, you guys. Well, I hope you have a fabulous evening, and it has been fun. I am very much looking forward to talking book 9.
Yeah, me too.
If you haven't already, everybody, read it. See you later.